Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Good evening to one and all present here. It gives me immense pleasure to invite Dr. Nancy here with us from Binghamton University. She is here to share the tuning programs they provide for scholars across the globe. And I invite Ms. Nancy now to share her experience with us, to share her inputs with reference to training programs at Binghamton University, with reference to Harpur College, where she works. Thank you, ma'am. Over to Dr. Nancy.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mangayarkarasi. I'm very happy to have the opportunity to deliver this presentation. And I'd just like to wish you, I think, good evening over in Chennai from me morning. And I'd like to tell you that I'm especially pleased to connect with you at Ethiraj College. And one of the reasons is because I am also a graduate of a women's college. You may know that in the United States, there are very few women's colleges left. And so it's, of course, a small and exclusive group. Many have gone coeducational and some have unfortunately closed down. But for me, having attended a women's college was a very formative experience. And so when I meet other graduates of women's colleges, other colleagues who are teaching at women's colleges, I feel a sense of great camaraderie, indeed a sense of sisterhood. So I want to extend that to you at Itiraj as well. I would also like to just send some heartfelt sentiments. I know that you've been experiencing a very difficult time across India in recent weeks because of the devastating spike in COVID. And of course, here in New York, we also went through a very challenging experience in regard to COVID. And so I wish you all and your families and your communities enduring health, but also fortitude and strength, which unfortunately I think we all have to call upon during these challenging times. So now it is with great pleasure that I am going to be talking to you about Harpur College at Binghamton University. And I have actually prepared a presentation that is a little bit more general about the college, with the hope that I can inspire some thinking about possible collaborations and places where we may have overlap in our curricula or in our campus interests. And I should tell you that I have been associated with Harpur now for 20 years. I first joined the campus as a new PhD. This was as an assistant professor many, many years ago. And now I am working as an administrator, as an associate dean in the college. And I am going to be particularly focusing on some of our programs in the arts and humanities, as I was asked to do. And that's very exciting for me because I am an art historian myself. And so that means that I am also an arts professional as well as a humanist. So let me just begin the presentation. So Harper College, and I should say I am a historian, so I always like to kind of take things back in time. And so it's always useful for me to start with the history. Harper was established in the year 1950 as a liberal arts college and a part of the new State University of New York system. And that was a very exciting moment, the 50s and the 60s in the United States, when there was a rising need for new colleges. There was a large number of young people who were seeking to gain degrees. And so many universities opened at that time to meet this rising demand, such as Harper College. In the year 1961, Harper moved to the town of Vestal, New York, to its present location. And you can see on the right a nice view of our campus in this historic photograph. In the year 1965, the name of the college was changed from Harper to the to a new title, which was State University of New York, or SUNY at Binghamton. And I just want to kind of indicate this shift to you so that you can understand that that change in naming did change the identity of the institution, but Harper College has still remained the heart of the university as its liberal arts school. And actually, we have changed names once again, and we are now known as Binghamton University. And Harpur is one of 5 schools. The other 5 schools are professional schools, schools of management, public administration, engineering, nursing, and most recently, we have added a school of pharmacy. And in Harper, we aim to give a firm foundation to our students, encouraging them to delve deeply into their chosen area of study, or we could say areas of study, as most of our students actually end up double majoring. Some of them also double major and have a minor as well. And so they have lots of interests, certainly. But at the same time, we are very much committed to encouraging a broad engagement with the world. And so we try to balance this interest in an intensive education with a broader and more generalized one. But most importantly, our students leave the campus with the ability to engage in critical intellectual discourse, which I'm sure you will all agree is a key skill for our moment. And of course, our faculty provide the basis for this learning with their scholarly and creative activities, providing the basis for new discoveries that enrich the educational experience of our students and of our communities. And if I, in my now 20-year history here at Binghamton, I think I just want to say a few words about this idea of communities. I think one thing that we've really seen develop and kind of change is the idea that the university and the college really needs to have an impact within its community, whether it is the local community of the town that we are situated in, within the state of New York, across the United States, and of course, even globally, which is one of the reasons why I'm speaking with you today, in that the university is seeing its purview as one that is greatly expanded compared to the way it may have seen its mission a few years ago, or definitely a few decades ago. So in terms of our programs, this is the list of our academic programs. And you can see that we have 3 divisions: the division of the fine arts and the humanities, a division of science and math, and a division of social sciences, which includes 26 departments. But I do want to really underline that we are very much committed to interdisciplinary inquiry here in the college as well. And in fact, many of our colleagues are engaged in research that requires the crossing of disciplinary boundaries. And in fact, our students are asking questions that cannot be answered with a skill set from a single domain. And so I very much see, as we move forward, that we are going to continue to develop these interdisciplinary and cross-disciplinary programs beyond this 14 that you see here, and indeed increasing into the future. So that, for me, is very much an area of growth. And in terms of our size, we are what I would call a medium-sized university. Here in the U.S., there are many small colleges that have, about 2,000, maybe 3,000 students. And then there are the mega universities that are, 30, 40,000, very, very large institutions. You can see here Harper College's numbers divided into undergraduate and graduate students. And I will tell you, if we include all of the schools, we're at about 17,000. And so we really sit in the middle of those 2 extremes. And I like to think that Harper College and Binghamton University really represent the best of both worlds. I often say that we have access to the research capacity of a large research university, like one of those mega universities, but at the same time, we are able to operate on a scale that is intimate enough that you know your neighbors, you know your fellow students, and that faculty members can convene and collaborate very easily. And so I think that we are just the right size, if you would like my opinion on that. And to give you a sense of our scope in terms of faculty in Harper, we have 520 faculty members, 390 of which are on the tenure track or are tenured. And if you just want to get a sense of what this might mean on a kind of more, let's say, yearly level, these are the number of our graduates by program over the past 5 years. And I only gave you 5 years of information. If I had drawn it back, you would certainly see a steady growth in numbers to where, well, basically steady, but a growth in numbers to where we are today. And indeed, the campus has grown over the past 20 years that I have been here, largely in the area of undergraduate studies, but we are moving to grow now very much in the area of graduate studies. And so I'd be happy to talk about kind of some of the directions that we see the campus moving in the future. And I will say that these numbers of, 2,600, roughly 2,600 graduates is something that I'm thinking about a great deal, because this past weekend we did hold our graduation ceremonies. And I will tell you that we actually did hold them in person, which was something that we were unable to do last year. Of course, we very much heeded all of the COVID guidelines. We held smaller ceremonies rather than, just very big, large ones that were, and these were attended by only a small number of individuals, each one of them. But it was really amazing to hopefully be looking toward the future in which we can resume these in-person activities, which have been, of course, stalled for all of us around the world. And as I've already described to you, Harpur College developed as an institution that intended to serve the students of the state of New York. And indeed, today, the large majority of Harpur College undergraduates are from New York State. But at the same time, again, I see that purview as having expanded a great deal, especially in the time that I've been here on campus. And I will tell you that Harpur students do come from all over the United States, not all 50 of the states, but most of them. And indeed, Harpur students come from over 30 countries, different countries. And so we really kind of see our mission as greatly wide, and it is both local and international. And to just give you a sense of that, the top 10 home cities of our undergraduate students are cities and towns that are located in the New York metro area, like Brooklyn, New York City, Bronx, Staten Island, and Flushing, or locally, right around Binghamton, towns such as Endicott and Vestal. But also one of the top 10 cities of our students is the city of Beijing. So you can see here that we kind of balance this New York perspective with one that is very international as well. And so this means that our campus community and our college community is diverse. And I just want to underline that we very much value diversity in the college, and that we aim to offer an environment that is inclusive of all of its constituents. And indeed, there are goals and hopes to increase the diversity of our students and our faculty. And I am in particular and personally very much involved in initiatives to increase faculty diversity in Harpur right now, which I would also be happy to say more about. We are very proud of the caliber of our students. Binghamton University is one of the most selective universities in our state system. And so we feel as if we bring in an excellent cadre of students who really represent the top of their classes from their high schools. But I do want to say we also try to very strongly instill in our students a desire for lifelong learning. And so you can see here that many of our students go on for continuing study after they leave Harpur College and Binghamton University, and many of them are very successful in doing so. So we're very kind of proud of the fact that we really develop a community that continues to study beyond their Binghamton career. And I spent most of my time talking really about undergraduate programs, but I do want to underline, as I've already pointed to, that we have a large number of graduate programs that are extremely diverse in our offerings at the master's level and the doctoral level. And indeed, almost half of our students are supported by teaching or research assistantships, and these go mostly to our doctoral students. But increasingly, as I've described, we are very interested in growing new programs. And so we have had a lot of new programs that have been approved in recent years, such as an online MA program in Italian that has been our most recent addition. We have new programs in biochemistry and chemical biology that are going to begin in the following academic year. And we have new master's level degree programs that are currently being developed in cinema and translation. And in fact, I will speak about those in just a moment. We are very proud of our faculty success, which of course forms the core of our academic community. And I will tell you that if we were to list all of our faculty accomplishments, we would have many, many pages of slides. And so we've just given you an excerpt of a few of our recent highlights that you can take a look here that give you a sense that our faculty is very active in research and has been successful in gaining prestigious honors, awards, and accolades. And of these, one of the ones that we are most proud of is a recent Nobel Prize winner in 2019. And you can see a photograph of our chemistry professor, Stan Whittingham, here accepting his prize in Stockholm in December 2019. I would say that our campus is an extremely collaborative one. I've already talked about its size, giving you a sense that because of its size, we are very much able to engage in collaboration across units. We're not one of these huge campuses in which individuals are very atomized and work only within their departments or within their research groups. And as I've already underlined, we are very much poised to think about international collaborations with institutions like Ethiraj College. And we believe that these kinds of partnerships provide opportunities for global engagement for our faculty and our students. So I'm very pleased to engage in this conversation with all of you in Chennai about how we could possibly move forward in this direction. And of course, our emphasis and interest in diversity and inclusiveness extends to the global sphere, and I think is a very important cornerstone of this collaboration. And indeed, to just give you a sense of what this means on the ground on our campus, we have a large number of organized research centers here. You can just see this list, and this includes most of the centers that Harpur is connected with, or kind of, let's say, centers that are anchored in Harpur, even if they may involve those from the professional schools. And indeed, some of them are more oriented around technology and science, but there are many that are oriented around area studies, like the Institute for Asia and Asian Diasporas, the Center for Israel Studies, and the Center for Korean Studies, as just a few of them. And I will say some of our newest centers are ones that have been oriented around social justice issues. And so we have just opened in recent years an institute for social justice for women and girls, the Kashik Institute that you can see on the lower left, as well as a Human Rights Institute and the Harriet Tubman Center for the Study of Freedom and Equity. And so indeed, I think that is, again, a rising area of interest across our campus. And I should also indicate here, and I don't think I put it on the slide, I'm sorry about that. We do, now I see it, it's on the lower left. It's the Institute for Genocide and Mass Atrocity Prevention. And so there's a lot of new initiatives, again, that are looking toward social justice and addressing important social issues. So with that, then, I'd like to talk about a few initiatives that we are working on the campus that are related particularly to the arts and humanities, just so you can see which directions we are going in. And you can let me know if any of these are of particular interest to you, or if, again, you might see some synergies or connections with work that is being done on your campus. So one of the proposals that is on the table right now that we're moving forward is a proposal for a School of the Arts within Harpur College. And this is an initiative that would bring together our 5 arts departments, which are art and design, art history, cinema, music, and theater, so that we can have more seamless and more integrated curricular and programmatic collaboration. And you can see that all of these programs are oriented around the fine arts, the visual arts, and the performing arts, and they combine the study of these areas with practice and practical training. And along these lines, we have a fine arts building that you can see in this photograph that actually dates to the original opening of the campus, that is actually scheduled to be renovated. And that has not yet started, but when it does, we believe that it will provide state-of-the-art facilities for the new school. So we're very much looking forward to that. In terms of some degree programs, we are working right now on an MFA in cinema, and this is moving through the approval process. And I do want to tell you that this program is exciting to me because it's a very distinctive one. Binghamton has had a very long-standing cinema program that works to foster the careers and the visions of artists and creative thinkers in film, video, and theory. But I will say the program is particularly known for its investment in independent film production and criticism, so underground or even avant-garde film. And in many ways, it really sits as an alternative to many of the programs that are focused on kind of churning out individuals who might be headed for the Hollywood film industry. So it's a very distinctive program in that right. And again, has a long history now of many decades of working in this area. And so this is a program that we believe is unlike any other in our neighboring and sister campuses. We are also working right now on a master's in translation, and this has moved through several stages of approval and should be ready to launch pretty soon. And indeed, this is being offered by Binghamton's Translation, Research, and Instruction Program, also called TRIP, which was founded in 1971, and we're also very proud of because it has gained national recognition. It was the first PhD program in translation studies in the US. And indeed, students from all over the world have come to pursue their doctorates at Binghamton to study translation as a research-informed process. And you can see that our faculty have particular areas of study in languages such as Arabic, Chinese, French, Korean, Japanese, and Spanish. But I will say that we are not limited to these languages. And indeed, some students who have studied other languages that are not within this realm of specialization have also gotten PhD degrees in the program. And so now a new master's program has been approved at the system level and will be implemented soon. And this is rather than being focused toward the doctoral level, which of course is a more academic program of study, is very much offered to give certification to professional translators with the idea that they can then become focused on careers in industry, business, and government sectors. And indeed, this kind of work, as I'm sure you can all imagine, is greatly needed in a world in which translation is more and more important and valuable. And now I want to talk about a series of initiatives that I am very deeply involved in myself personally. And that has to do with two linked arenas, the computational liberal arts and digital humanities. And as I've already described, I myself am an art historian, but over the past years, I have become increasingly interested in the ways in which computational technology and digital media are inspiring new methods and approaches in the humanities. And this is the understanding that computation, that kind of digital studies can be applied to the classic disciplines of history, world literature, and art history, my own field. And so this has really kind of driven a great initiative on our campus among those of us who are very interested in particularly digital mapping, for instance, digital storytelling, social network analysis, and natural language processing. It's just some of the applications. And I should add even 3D modeling and virtual and augmented reality. And with this understanding, Harpur has aimed to integrate a technologically informed approach to the liberal arts education across the curriculum. And so this is important with the understanding that it's not just in the area of computer science that you need to understand technology, that even as an English major or a history major or an anthropology major, that technology should be a part of your program and can enhance your area of study. And so to this end, we are proposing a new undergraduate minor program in computational liberal arts, as well as a related digital humanities graduate certificate. And the idea is that these kinds of skills and proficiencies are really valuable for our students, whether they are going out into the professional world to pursue careers that definitely will have some aspect of technology engaged as part of their everyday life, or those who are continuing on to academic professions with a PhD or a master's, with the understanding that indeed technology is playing a larger and larger role in all of our institutions. And I do want to just give you a sense of some of the resources and excuse me, some of the resources and facilities that we offer on our campus that help to enhance some of this work that we are doing. And I think also give you a sense of what is special and unique about our campus. We do have a university art museum that has a permanent collection of art objects, over 4,000 objects, many of which have been donated by our alumni and local community members. This museum sustains a dynamic schedule of rotating exhibitions. And I do want to underline that these exhibitions are curated by our museum staff, by faculty members and students. And this is really important because we don't just see this as a display space, but we also see it as an opportunity for students to gain skills in curating and mounting exhibitions, which is extremely useful as many of them pursue careers in museums and galleries and in the public sphere. We also have a study room that serves as an extension of the classroom in which students can come and actually work with art objects directly. And I've used this room extensively in my own teaching, and I will say it's a really wonderful experience to bring students directly into contact with art objects as we have the opportunity to do at Binghamton. I would also like to underline that we have an Institute for Advanced Studies in the Humanities, which was established in the year 2010 to support both the research and teaching agendas in the humanities at Binghamton. It provides fellowships for faculty to pursue special projects, usually in a kind of cohort group. And it also supports undergraduates to engage in humanities research projects. And this is very important because across campus, we have been very engaged with trying to instill a culture of research into our students from the very beginning of their careers. And this is with the understanding that as you move up in the ranks of any kind of program of study, you get the opportunity to do research when you move up to the upper levels. But at Binghamton, we're really trying to instill and maybe kind of turn that process around with the idea that students can benefit from research from the very beginning of their careers as scholars. The Institute for Advanced Studies in the Humanities also promotes public humanities. And this gets back to this idea that I brought up to you before about this kind of wider purview of the university, that we no longer are satisfied with just speaking to small communities of other scholars, but wish to reach a wider audience with the understanding that our research has an impact and can be really meaningful to those in local communities outside of the college or the university. And to that end, the Institute hosts a podcast series, and we've been very interested in podcasting and new modes of storytelling and narrative expression. And so this is all kind of linking into some of the other initiatives that I've just described. We also on campus have a Center for the Performing Arts that is a world-class venue that hosts international theater, dance, and music productions. And I would say this is one of the kinds of institutions on campus that very much serves the local and regional community as well. And lastly, I would just like to tell you about one other institution at Harpur, which is called Harpur Edge. And this was a campus initiative that was founded with the idea that students need a lot of support, right? That there's only a certain amount of support that faculty members, for instance, can give them. You know, we can certainly support their intellectual development. We can, have input in their personal development as well. But students need not just intellectual support, but they often need some professional guidance. They need, in many cases, personal development and support as well. And so Harpur Edge is a program that helps to try to round out that education by preparing students for their postgraduate careers, offering both training and mentorship and exposure to career opportunities, while also placing emphasis on well-being. And I think this is something that has become so important on campuses around the world, particularly during the stresses of this COVID pandemic, where we realize that students are extremely stressed out and that they often need support that goes personal support that again goes beyond the classroom. That is what Harpur Edge aims to provide. So with that, then I hope I've given you an understanding of some of the things that we do at Harper College, at Binghamton University as well. And I'd be very happy to take any questions from those of you who are in the audience, and to talk further about any of the initiatives that I have presented. So I'm going to stop my sharing of the screen, if that's okay with you, and just open it up for any interested uh, or any questions.
Yes, ma'am. Thank
And
you.
I,
Thank you, Miss Nancy.
you're very welcome.
Uh,
And would you mind if I just introduced my colleague, Dr. Sri Hari, who is also, I believe, a native of Chennai. Is that correct, Hari?
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
yes, who has kindly joined us, and I see his face here, so I just wanted
Joining
to
us?
welcome him. Yes, I see him here, so I wanted to say
Yes,
hello.
yes. And Nancy, thank
Yeah,
you so much.
good
Yes,
evening, sir. Good evening.
a very
Good
good evening to
evening,
you.
sir, or good morning to you.
Yes, I am from Chennai, and I've had the pleasure of visiting Ethiraj a few times. And actually, our provost met with the chairperson when he was in Chennai, December of 19, and the
Uh-huh.
previous chairperson, Mike Muralidharan.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
so we have a very good partnership with Ethiraj, and I'm
Uh-huh.
delighted that my colleague, Associate Dean Nancy Yam, is able to talk to colleagues at Ethiraj because of the excellence of Ethiraj. It will be an excellent partnership for us to take this forward. And I know that the chairperson was also very interested in uh, fundamental rights and so on, and she serves on national panels in India. And
Yes,
that's
sir.
something that Harper College and Binghamton are very strong on. So there
Uh-huh.
might be a lot of avenues for collaboration. And
Okay.
and Ethiraj is everything but engineering. So there's a lot of opportunity between Harper and Ethiraj for academic collaboration. So thank you so much for the opportunity, and I will now keep quiet.
Thank you
Thank
for
you for
joining us,
joining us,
sir.
sir.
My pleasure. It's my pleasure.
So I'm very happy to take any questions if anyone from the audience would like to ask about some of the material I presented, or has other questions about the work that we're doing in
Yes,
Harper.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, this is in connection with twinning programs. When we call this a twinning program, we have our history department here and we are from English department. How do we collaborate with you for a twinning program? How do we go about it?
Yes, yes. Okay, so this is a great
And we have our
question.
history head of the department, Dr. Kausalya, here with us.
Yes. Okay. So that's great to know that it's mostly history and English, in which you might see some areas of connection. What I think the best way to do this is, first of all, I believe that one has to kind of find those intellectual synergies and those places where there are connection. And what we've done in the past with other institutions as well is that we've tried to do a few kind of just begin with some kind of I'll call them meet and greet, kinds of events to get the faculty in communication and connection. For instance, we have done in the past a few, informal webinar series where some of our faculty, say, kind of present to your faculty and vice versa. There's also been student-to-student collaborations, and it's kind of through the mechanism of these more kind of, let's say, introductory events that we've come to know each other and tried to figured out where those connections are. And so I'd be very happy if there's interest on your end to see if colleagues here at Binghamton would want to put forward, or engage in any of those programs. And then I think we could move forward and talk about curricular initiatives. I will say, for my part, I think it's first important to get a sense of where the intellectual connections are before, say, jumping into talking about exactly what the curricular initiatives can be.
Yes.
And I hope you would agree with that.
Okay. Okay. And I have one more question, ma'am. You offer digital humanities. It's a
Yes.
certificate program. Then how do we connect our students for that certificate program?
Yes, no, absolutely. So, and I'm very curious, I'm deeply involved in this particular initiative, so I'm happy to talk to you about it. And I would love to know what the discussion actually in India is about digital humanities and what level of interest there is there. But I will tell you that we have a number. Well, those programs, first of all, are in the work. So none of them have been approved yet. So we're not able to offer degrees yet to our own students. But what we have been doing in the interim, because these will be hopefully online very soon, is we've been doing a lot of training programs. And so if there's interest on your campus, and I will tell you, I teach many of these myself. And so I would be thrilled to maybe do some workshops with your students and maybe some of your faculty if there are particular kind of skills or particular platforms or particular questions that they're interested in. That would be a great pleasure on my part. So I work with a digital scholarship librarian actually on campus, and the two of us are engaged in a whole range of training programs that we could easily deliver via Zoom or Google Meetup or any kind of platform that would be informal ways of bringing together the students before those students and maybe even faculty. We realize that it's not only the students who need training, it's the faculty as well that also are very interested in kind of building up skills, because many of us were not trained in any of these methods when we were getting our degrees, way back when, right? And so I would be very thrilled to speak further with you about that, and to maybe offer some programs that could easily be delivered remotely if that's of interest to you.
Thank you, ma'am. And I have one more, ma'am. We do offer internships for our students in journalism, news media, and other areas. How do we go about with this internship, ma'am?
Yeah, so I have talked with other campuses about this particular question, and I will say, obviously, right now with COVID, we're in a little bit of a, no internships are even harder to come by right now because of the kind of shift to remote environment, and they have, been providing, unfortunately, a very different experience now for our students who are not able to go into the workplace. But we could probably work out some, campus internship. I would say with some of our institutions that might be possible. I would have to put you in touch with those in our, maybe in Harpur Edge or in our career center to discuss some of that. And so I'd be happy to make those connections, perhaps starting with Harpur Edge, because that's one of our own programs. And, it can be a little bit of a challenge, and especially during COVID, kind of getting those matchups to work and also getting timing to work. Because the one other thing I do want to mention to you is because I realize you've already completed your teaching semester, I know, in India, right? And you're scheduled to begin again, I believe, in maybe June or July. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and so our timetables are slightly different as well, because we're now about to end and we're going into our summer. So those are, I think, a little bit more complicated to arrange, but we could certainly talk about some career training. And I will say that other institutions I've spoken about, and I will just throw this back to you to kind of think about, they have talked about the possibility of doing even a kind of, a more comprehensive study abroad program at Binghamton, maybe for a summer or for a short period, and to treat that as an internship because of the holistic kind of experience it provides, right? Even if it is kind of more academically oriented. And so we'd be happy to talk to you about some of those possibilities.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. We have 2 or 3 questions here, ma'am. Do we offer any such commerce certificate course or English literature certificate course available in our college?
I'm sorry, could you just repeat the question one more time? Sorry about that.
Commerce or English literature. English.
English, yes, absolutely, absolutely. So we have not only do we have master's and PhD programs, but we also in English literature, but we also have a creative writing program that offers a doctoral degree, and that's also a very long-standing program that and I'm sorry I didn't draw attention to it, but I would encourage you to take a look at our website. We have a Center for Writers and a distinguished group of creative writers. We just hired a very distinguished poet as well. And so we that program has kind of two parts to it. One, which is obviously the study of English literature. The other is the deep research informed engagement with writing as a practice. And I do want to also underline that we have a comparative literature program as well, which English literature is encompassed within. Right? I mean, there's the work that is done there is in that department is very diverse. And the one other thing I do want to tell you is that we have a writing initiative, which offers does not offer at the stage degree programs, but does a lot of the developmental work in writing and is very interested in developing courses and tracks now that are engaged in different kinds of writing, like fostering scientific writing, for instance, or there's been a lot of discussion about digital storytelling, which I've already described to you as something we're very, very interested in on our campus. And so let me just say that the study of English literature is not only supported, but it's supported in different ways in our division by different units.
That's very interesting, ma'am. We have our scholars here, our MPhil and PG scholars here. Any other questions to your students?
I'm sorry?
Any other questions regarding PhD or anything? Akshaya, you're here?
Yes, ma'am.
Please check with ma'am whether our students can join PhD there. Akshaya?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, yes, ma'am. I'm just thinking of like how to ask a right question. I'm actually listening to the conversation of.
Okay. Ma'am, we have our scholars here. If they once they complete their PG or MPhil here, how is it possible for them to join their Binghamton University for PhD for research?
Yes. Well, so it would be through formal application to the doctoral programs. And if there is a large group that might be interested in some of the areas that you've described, we'd be very happy to hold a session about what kinds of PhD and doctoral programs we offer, maybe sometime later in the summer, if that might be something that you might, if you think that there would be some student interest in. But we would ask to go through the normal track of application. I will say we don't have in the humanities a large number of, say, standing postdoctoral positions, unfortunately. That's something that's a model, obviously, that kind of is more integrated into the sciences. So that would be the kind of process by which we would, through that formal process. And I'd be very happy to hold an event catering towards student interest, if you would like, later on in the summer.
This is on behalf of the faculty here. If they would like to pursue DLit, Doctor of Letters, is there any other opportunity for them to join for the course? Do you have any procedure to follow to join DLit there?
DLit, no, unfortunately, that's what I don't think we can accommodate. So.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. At the outset, I would like to thank Dean, Miss Nancy, for her time. And within a short notice, she was able to organize everything with a lot of inputs, and she has put in a lot of efforts to bring in best possible presentation on training programs here. And I thank all the participants here, our scholars, our faculty members, to have taken their time to join here. And I profusely thank Krishna sir, Krishna Hari sir, to have joined with us. It's a pleasant surprise actually to join with us and share his inputs and share some of his observation on Ethiraj College, our institution. Thank you so much for joining us, sir, this evening. And I thank other students and scholars for the technical support within a short notice. They arranged everything and they made themselves free to join this evening with us. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I look forward to, if there are any questions that follow, anyone can feel free to contact me directly via email.
Sure, sure. We'll pass it on to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.